Welcome back to the channel. This is Randy, Ragamuffin Piper.
And Michelle.
Mrs. Piper. And this is Memorial Day 2024. So, there are a lot of people who want to really make a big distinction between Veterans Day and Memorial Day, and there is. But how often do we say thank you to the people who have served? So, a little bit of a mea culpa here if we say thank you to those who are still watching and able to watch for your service. But today we remember those that they gave all at some point, either during their service or they came home. I was watching Papa Bear this morning talking about his dad, and it was so much like mine. He did his thing. He was in the Pacific Theater in World War II. The Philippines liberation and all of the Aleutian Islands and things like that. Didn't talk about it a lot when he came home. He just went back to being a husband and a father and a good worker at work and a good provider. So my dad's name was Earl, and we're remembering him today. And Michelle's dad, Ralph, he served where?
In Korea.
Ralph was a little bit younger than my dad by maybe a couple years, and he served in Korean in what, the Army?
Yes, he was like 3 years younger than your dad.
Yeah. He was in the Army in Korea.
4.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And my dad was in the Navy, obviously, and so since we live a long way from where the gravestones, the remembrance places are for our parents, well, Michelle's mom is still living, but my mom and dad are buried a long ways away, and Michelle's dad is too. So I made kind of a memorial place here in the yard at the Hidden D, and it has a couple placards that have their last names and just some remembrance. I try to keep flowers there sometimes when the snow's not covering it up. But I am drawn back to some history. I do love history. I've read a lot about Civil War and everything in between, And we often think of men when we think of people who served, and people think the soldiers as men, but there actually were, and still are now, a lot of women who have given their lives in the service of their countries. And in the if you go back to the Revolutionary War, even kids and families, a 13, 14-year-old boy is not a man, but many served like they were. So when we remember soldiers today and people who fought for what they thought was right, liberty, and those types of things, we remember them all. So that's all we wanted to say, really. It's not a happy Memorial Day, but a Memorial Day of remembrance. Is that redundant? Memorial Day, the memory of.
My English teacher is not here, and
mine either. But it's sad sometimes that it only happens once a year. To those of you across the pond and in lands far away, this is maybe a U.S. thing, but I think it's appropriate to know that, in the world wars and in a lot of the conflicts, for many hundreds of years, there have been allies across the world, and we pay tribute to everybody who raised their hand and said, "I'll go." It didn't matter what country you came from. There were a lot of people who served, and I remember I had a co-worker at work. His dad was a little boy during the Philippines liberation, and was one of the young men. I don't know how old he was, but probably no more than 7, 8, or 9. And when my dad was letting troops off in the Philippines, he was one of the guides that helped the troops go through town and told them where some things were, and his family told him they were going to torture him and kill him. But he had a hope, I guess, and that hope led him to come to the United States and start a family here. So the efforts around the world to make the world a better place, I think that we can celebrate that today, and we can honor the men and women who've they made the ultimate sacrifice, whether or not they were during the wartime or they came home and lived out a long life in spite of the wartime.
Yeah, trying to overcome what the war did to them.
Michelle's grandfather was World War I veteran, and changed his life forever. So he was never quite the same after his time in Germany. So you can have a big impact on people, and when they say some gave all, sometimes just giving your life, that might not seem like the easy part, but for some, living on wasn't easy either, at all. So just a somber note today to remember those who have fallen, and whether they fell in battle or at home after coming back and being decent human beings. Well, tribute to everybody. Right?
Yeah.
I didn't know she was Vulcan when I married her. So have a happy day and do it in remembrance, all right? This is Randy.
And Michelle.
Wishing you a good Memorial Day. Spend it with family and make it a special day.
Eat chocolate. Just kidding.
Eat barbecue. Whatever. As we used to say, whatever makes your birdie chirp. I was kind of thinking one might chirp on cue there, but there you go. And on that lovely note, we're out of here. See you later. Say bye.
Bye.
Bye. I almost forgot the housekeeping. This is my Series 3 Savinelli. Love this pipe.
Housekeeping?
It's housekeeping. That's what we call it, housekeeping. And inside it, Smarty Bob, some Carter Hall. Bye, y'all. I'm not weird.
I'm just trying to figure out how I can use that to social. Hey, what are you doing? Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. I was gonna go and shoot some video of the flag waving in the wind, and then there was no wind. And then we sat down to record. Wind! And now, no wind.
There's a little breeze right now.
And a train. Planes, trains, and automobiles, dogs, and chickens here at the Hidden D. Mosquitoes and flies. Thanks for hanging out with us. I guess if you did this long, you're a trooper. Bye now, for real.